And I saw the knife and I thought, my goodness, the shape of that knife, the proportions of that knife just look absolutely fantastic for a gentlemanly carry sort of knife. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brian and I'm here today with another knife unboxing. This is from a new brand that I have no experience with prior, Sangin Knives. This is the Admiral 2 in titanium. I am very excited to get this open. The first thing that you'll note is I bought a knife that is about this size, and yet it came in the biggest box that I've ever received for a knife shipment. So really interested to see how they've packaged this here. Let's get into it. All right, well, this is such a large box, I'm not sure it will even work with my camera setup here, but I will do my best. And the one thing I will say, they did say it could take up to 10 days for them to ship the knife, and they meant it. It actually took about 12 days before I received a shipment notification. Now that I've got it, the packaging is really nice. They put it in a really oversized box. The only little problem, and it's not really a big deal, is the corner of this still got a little nicked. But let's get it open. I've never seen a knife packaged quite like this, where it's even got kind of heat shrunk plastic over the box. In addition to the box just being absolutely unbelievable overkill, looks quite nice. This really does almost feel like a sneaker unboxing where you actually kind of care about the box. Sangin Knives with you. This is a veteran-owned and operated company. I'll show this to you here and you could always pause it and read it if you would like. The Sangin name does have roots, I believe, to a region in Afghanistan where military personnel have been deployed. It does come with a lifetime warranty. The presentation on this is pretty incredible. My goodness. We've got a card, Admiral 2, steel type, CPM Magna Cut, handle, titanium, Rockwell 63 hardness, inspected by J. Cervantes, serial number unmarked. And I do believe J. Cervantes is the founder of Sangin, if I'm not mistaken. The original Admiral 1 was a collaboration with Tor Knives. This knife here, I believe, is still manufactured by Tor. I believe there's strong ties between the company, with the founder of Tor actually being involved in the kind of creation of Sangin, perhaps as an early investor. I think his name was kind of on the corporate documents. And let me tell you a little bit about how I found this knife and why I was so excited for it, and why in hand, without kind of interacting with it yet, I am very pleased. So, one of my favorite everyday carry knives is this Demco AD22. And later this year, Demco has a collaboration with Okaso where they're going to be coming out with kind of a very gentlemanly knife. It's got gold accents, it's narrow, it's sleek, it's elegant. And it has a price point of $750. And the idea of a gentlemanly knife really appealed to me, but the more I thought about it, the more a $750 price point for a gentlemanly knife, especially when I've already got this AD22 that I absolutely love, kind of just felt like a step too far. I have a feeling I'm gonna end up buying one anyway, but the shape and proportions of a gentlemanly knife really kind of appealed to me after seeing that one. And I've got a coworker, Jonathan, shout out to Jonathan, who introduced me to the Sangin Admiral 2. He got clued into the brand from the watches, and then his wife actually surprised him with an Admiral 2 in a kind of limited edition black topographical pattern, very similar to kind of the triple-aught design stuff. And so when he found out I was into all of these knives and I introduced him to Demco, which is in his neck of the woods out in Pittsburgh, he introduced me to this knife. And seeing it, I really wanted one. The only one available in stock at the time was the tan handle version, and I just didn't like the colorway all that much. I saw that they had this one in a stonewashed titanium, but it was listed as sold out, and then as luck would have it, literally a day or two later, they actually opened up the release for this stonewashed titanium. And I saw the knife and I thought, my goodness, the shape of that knife, the proportions of that knife just look absolutely fantastic for a gentlemanly carry sort of knife. And seeing it in hand, I agree. I absolutely love the colorway. I love how kind of simple and elegant it looks. And so I purchased it. I purchased it at a price of $415. It is a full titanium scaled knife with a frame lock that I think actually, I forget what they call it. It's not a liner, an insert. It does have an insert for the locking portion. And let's try to interact with this thing and see what we think, because it came open. Pretty nice close. It doesn't kind of like fall into the detent suddenly. It almost feels like a magnet. I know it's not a magnet, but the way it kind of pulls itself down at the end is really nice. Lockup was pretty uneventful. Can this actually be deployed with like a flick? As with all of my knives, kind of playing around with deployment takes time. This doesn't feel like it's a very flickable knife, but I didn't buy it with that intent in mind. It does deploy pretty smoothly. It is on washers as opposed to bearings. And with the Demcos, I'm kind of so used to just reverse flicking with my finger for deployment that I don't really have to flick my whole wrist. But with this one, I think if you apply a little bit of pressure to the thumb stud and flick it, it deploys pretty nicely. This knife is made in the USA, which I would say makes it a very strong value given everything that you get, including being made in the USA. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied, and it is in the realm of kind of what I would have expected, both in terms of opening and closing. And I think this absolutely scratches the itch of a very gentlemanly carry. I'm not so deep into knife design that I can explain kind of specific design elements, but when I look at this handle shape, just kind of how narrow it is, but with this really smooth area and kind of finger grooves, not exactly finger grooves, along with a blade shape that is kind of very elegantly matched, the whole thing just comes together in a very beautiful package. I think elegant, sophisticated, these are words that very much describe how I feel about what I'm seeing here. In hand, again, I really like full titanium knives because of just how strong and sturdy they feel in hand. This one, Yep, no, it's solid. It's got solid lockup, no blade play side to side or up and down. Jimping is a bit different than other knives I have. It's kind of very sharply cut, if that makes sense. There's no rounding of the edges of this jimping. So you definitely feel it kind of bite more into your finger. I don't know if I like that. It actually bites a little too aggressively. Whereas, just as an example by comparison, this AD22, you know, the jimping looks pretty similar to the naked eye, but there's just that little bit of smoothness taken out of the sharp corners that makes it a little bit more friendly to hold this one. Being left-handed, the way that I hold a knife, the clip always kind of ends up in my fingers, and when they design it in such a way that it's kind of ergonomic to holding a finger, it usually works out pretty well. So holding this like this, you can kind of see it ends up kind of acting like a finger groove and feels very nice in the hand, less the kind of sharp edges on the jimping. That would be kind of my only complaint so far in what I'm seeing here and noting. Real nice if you hold it the other way, really smooth up here at the back. Open frame on standoffs, typical of full titanium knives. Thumb stud looks very nicely machined. Everything appears to be Torx screws. And then we have the Sangin Knives logo kind of laser etched into the blade stock. Again, this is a MagnaCut blade. Overall, really pleased with this purchase, really impressed. Like what I see, and I definitely can see carrying this every day, which is the reason that I bought it. Coming in at, you know, $335 less than what I expect the Ocaso collab to come out at, and being, honestly, in my opinion, a little bit more elegant and understated in terms of the shape, and without having the gold bits of flair, I think this is a real winner. I can understand and say, you know, it's not necessarily a direct competitor to something like this that runs on bearings, but I think when you compare the two, you're getting a really, really quality piece for the money. So, very satisfied with this purchase. Let's just do the typical run through real quick. Looks like we're at 8 inches overall, about 3.5 on the blade length. Four and a half into the handle. The blade stock is 1.45 inches thick, as compared to an AD22 that is supposed to be 1.25, but you know what? I think the Demcos are always understated because these feel and look practically identical in hand. I would say that's actually probably more of Demco specifying to the low side. Really nice blade thickness for the size of this knife. And let's weigh this. 4.5 ounces, which is a great weight to be coming in at for an all titanium knife, compared to an AD22 at 5.4 ounces. So I think this knife checks a ton of boxes. I am really satisfied with this purchase. Definitely very happy and pleased, and plan to start working this into the rotation immediately. That's all I've got for this one. Shout out to Jonathan. Thank you for cluing me into this brand and this knife. I will say I did just note that it does look like this has an ambidextrous clip, which is an upgrade from the original Admiral. So you can just unscrew this here and screw it in over there, and it doesn't even go through the knife anymore where it used to before. This is unbelievable in terms of the scales. Now that I look at this, there literally is only 2 screws holding this knife together. We've got the pivot and we've got this one standoff at the back. It looks like there's more when you're just looking at the scales, but there isn't. And I think that's a really elegant touch as well, and I don't really notice any issue in terms of how the knife holds up when I really put some force through it. So really amazing design, really beautiful design, classic, elegant, checks all the boxes. Very gentlemanly carry sort of knife, and therefore I plan to use it in such a way, and this will probably live in my pocket on a regular basis. So that's all I've got for this one. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think of this knife in the comments. I appreciate you, and I will see you at the next one soon.